Hi, I'm Brad Roberts from Crash Test Dummies. You're driving home with an awesome mix of music on WMNF, Tampa.
The opinions presented on the Healthy Steps show are the evidence-based opinions of Dr. Fred Harvey, the callers, and his guests. These are not the opinions of the staff, the volunteers, or the board of WMNF. The information provided on the show is not intended to diagnose or treat any disease. There is no implied patient-physician relationship in these calls. The nature of the calls is educational and informational only.
Hello there, my beloved listeners. It is wonderful to be back with you in the cloister of the studio on this absolutely glorious Monday morning. Mere words are simple baubles as I stumble to truly express how grateful I am to you, my buddy, for keeping your radio dial tuned to WMNF Tampa, your resistance radio station from Tampa Bay to the Gulf of Mexico, and the only sapient little FM station that Sidney Carton ever streams. And it is a far, far better thing for you as well to stream us at WMNF.org. Today is Ask Me Anything Monday, and like a diamond in the rough, the sparkle depends on your medical questions, comments, and concerns. So let's keep my favorite phone answering megastar, Sage, busy this morning. Just give us a call at 813-239-9663. Again, that number is 813-239-9663. You can send an email to dj@wmnf.org, and as always, you can send us a text at 813-433-0885. With that out of the way, back to what we all gathered around our radios for today. It is Ask Me Anything Monday. What have you got to get us started today, Dr. Fred?
I'm not hearing anything there, Doc.
I'm not hearing anything from your end either. I was waiting to hear the end of the intro. Hey,
okay.
Good morning and happy Monday.
Likewise. Happy Dr. Martin Luther King Day as well.
Yes. And that was another inspiring talk. I always love to hear Dr. King speak. It's always, It's so sad that we lost him before he finished telling us the rest of the message, but I think we got it, and I think we're dealing with the after effects of his good work today because there's a lot of people pushing back on his good work. And
so true.
It's really distressing to see that the health of our nation is being so crushed by racism and hatred. But we can transcend that. We know we can. And all it takes is a lot of people working together to actually get the message out there, to continue the education, to not allow history to be replaced and to be erased, and also to take the pieces of history that have been distorted and altered and created through a racist lens to inhibit the delivery of justice, to create injustice in our world. And I am just really impressed with some things that are happening in medicine today to reverse centuries worth of racist healthcare. Our system is racist. Our system, including the medical delivery system, medical education, has been controlled by Northern European white people for ages. And there's a lot of other people involved, but some of the basic assumptions were created out of a racist lens. And there's MLK Day is a great day to talk about it. It's interesting that there are still people working hard for justice, and MLK started a great work, but there's so many areas, so many distinct areas of concern. And I really want to look at the healthcare part of it. It is skewed. And we really do need to have justice in healthcare. Health equity means that people actually get listened to. And they have to be believed and respected and offered care that works for their bodies and their lives. But inequality can show up in really subtle ways. One one of those ways is the assumption that standard advice is universal. And it's really a problem in healthcare when we make assumptions that we can give universal advice, standard advice that's going to work for every human. There's a Dr. Joel Bervell, Bervell. I've talked about him before. He's a Peabody Award-winning Ghanaian American physician, science communicator, and he's brilliant. And he's trying to dispel the myths that Western medicine has created about the black body. And there are a bunch of them. And so you can find Dr. Bervell. I'm just going to mention he has a podcast called The Dose. And he also has a YouTube animated series called The Doctor Is In. But you can find him on Instagram, Facebook, all over the place. And he says really great things all the time. Provocative, important, and very informative. He didn't say this, but as I was doing some research today, of all things, I asked ChatGPT to look up some stuff for MLK Day. Well, it looked up stuff for Milk Day. It did a typo, and it looked for milk stuff, which is really good because it correlates perfectly here. Because even something as common as the phrase drink milk for strong bones doesn't fit everyone. And I think there's a lot of people listening to this show right now that would agree with me. And many of them are Black, Latino, and Asian, because it's so common in those groups to actually lack the gene that makes the enzyme called lactase. Lactase breaks down lactose, the milk sugar, so lactose intolerance is really common in Black Americans. And so in these groups, milk causes bloating, cramps, diarrhea, real discomfort. And so it's not an option. This is a really great example of this larger issue in American healthcare where assumptions are made about stuff that are untrue. So when medicine assumes there's one, open quotes, default body, it's going to miss what's normal, healthy, and appropriate for the diversity of the human species. There's really only one race, the human race. But within that race, there's diversity. We have to actually understand that the diversity does mean real, true difference. And so, there's better ways to do this. So I've talked for a long time about how you don't need dairy to actually get strong bones. You can get strong bones, you can support them without forcing milk, cheese, and all that other stuff. The soy products actually have calcium in them. Silk soy milk has a lot of calcium in 1 cup. So does tofu. But beyond those, greens, collard greens. 1 cup of boiled collard greens has 30% practically. It's 29% of your daily calcium needs. Kale has like 9% in 1 cup of boiled. It takes the stuff out, right? But it doesn't take the calcium out. Bok choy has it. Spinach, I think, has 8%. Sardines, mackerel, salmon cooked in the can, wild caught fish with the bones cooked into it, high calcium. Calcium set tofu, I already mentioned it, but also silk soy milk. And they do add calcium to many of the other milks to make them actually look kind of whitish so that they don't look as clear and wan as nut milk often looks without reinforcement. And then definitely you need to take some magnesium to support, but you get magnesium in these greens as well. And other foods. Vitamin D, you get it in the sun, but you also probably should take some extra. Most people are a little vitamin D insufficient, if not deficient. And then really, one of the best things you can do is resistance training. Squats and lunges build those hips, back, and thighs so that you don't get fractures. And so there's a lot of stuff we can do to promote health. It's really amazing. And so I just want to remind everybody on MLK Day, justice is not abstract. It's actually, injustice is built into how systems treat people, and we can build better systems. We can really build better systems. And today I am choosing to recommit to listening better, to practicing culturally competent care, and to building a healthcare system, a system that actually is there, a real system. We don't have one. And one that works for everyone inclusively. And because of that, next week, I'm going to dissect the new administration, what they call the open quote, great, close quote, healthcare plan. We have to remember that when this administration uses the word great, they mean exactly the opposite, because that's what double speak's about, telling you one thing and doing the other. So if you go on to the whitehouse.gov and look for the great healthcare plan, you'll find this very skinny little document that has nothing in it, because there is no healthcare plan. Let's talk about it next week. But in the meantime, I just want to remind everybody, this is the Healthy Steps Show. I'm Dr. Fred Harvey, and you can call and talk to me about all kinds of stuff.
And yes, you're more than can. You are very much encouraged to participate in the Healthy Steps radio show with Dr. Fred Harvey here on WMNF Tampa. Just give us a call at 813-239-9663. Sage is in the control room, came on this holiday, Martin Luther King Day. So be sure to give us a call. The number is 813-239-9663, and you can join Victoria and Tom in the queue and ask your medical questions or share your concerns. And you can send your emails to dj@wmnf.org. Let's go to Victoria in Gulfport with a good morning to you.
Good morning, both of you. I recently purchased a 25-pound bag of artesian flour, not realizing how much that was going to be, and I need to store it because that'll probably take me about a year to use to make sourdough bread. And I'm looking at glass containers and also silicone containers, bags that can go in the freezer, and I wondered I've never used silicone before. I try not to use plastic. I'm wondering if that's healthy, and if not, what is an alternative?
Well, I think silicone's a great choice. Silicone's pretty inert. It's not like the plastic bags and plastic containers that are made with phthalates and other chemicals that we don't want. The silicone is really pretty unreactive, and freezing, I think, is the best place to take your already ground grain, because it's prone to go rancid. So freezing is the best way to keep it longer.
Excellent. Thank you. That was what I was looking for. I appreciate it. Have a wonderful day. Bye.
Have a great day.
Yeah, that was simple enough, Victoria. Thank you for calling on in. Let's go to Tom in St. Pete. Good morning, Tom.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Happy Martin Luther King Day. I wanted before I ask my question, I wanted to bounce off you. I used to say that since the internet became more misinformation than true information, that the only sites you could really trust were the .edus, the .org, and the .gov. But sadly, in America and the United States, the .govs have no longer are a part of what we can count on as being factual, because either disinformation is being published by our United States government, or just wrong information, misinformation, because somebody is relying on opinion rather than research or facts. So that's a sad thing.
I agree.
But my question to you is, I always like looking at these, like top 5 or top 10 lists of the best things that we can put in our body, and the best things that we can do for for health and long life. And one of them kind of struck me with a new one. Their number one nutrient on this list was glycine. And I invested in 3 pounds of thing of glycine, but then I started thinking, sometimes these lists are a little hyperbole, and they're meant to sell things. So I'm calling you to ask what's your opinion on glycine. Have I been taken by a fad, or is there something to glycine being an important nutrient?
Yes, you've been taken by a fad. Yes, glycine is a very important nutrient. Both are true.
Oh, okay.
So the fad I see is that our world has dived into supplementation as the source for everything. You got a pill to fix every ill, and then health becomes an illness that you have to treat. So you have to actually take pills to treat your not health illness so you can be healthy. And so what I see is right now you're right about disinformation. When a criminal has taken over the running of the nation, and the criminal surrounds himself with insta-grifters and other deceitful characters who stand to profit from the changes that are being made, then yeah, it's pretty obvious what's actually going on. But glycine is an amino acid. Glycine is very useful in many different proteins, enzymes, and processes in the body. Glycine seems to help calm your systems down. Like, it can help you have a little bit better sleep. But glycine is present in meat, fish, dairy, bone broth, beans, nuts, seeds, vegetables, fruits. Banana and kiwi have some glycine. Grains. So there's all kinds of places you can get it in your food. But if you have a detox problem, if you're having lots of toxicity in your body and you want to detoxify better, glycine is one of the 3 amino acids that makes up glutathione, the body's best detoxifier, antioxidant quenching agent. It's really amazing. And so the use of glycine I find helpful in people that have trouble sleeping, because it helps calm them down, people with tox problems. And in addition to the glycine, I recommend they take some N-acetylcysteine and some glutamine. Those are the 3 amino acids that build glutathione. If you take those, you're actually helping with detoxification. And everybody's got some toxins on board, so I don't see any problem with getting some extra amino acids, because mostly they are safe unless you're exceeding your kidney tolerance on protein, but that's when people have bad kidney disease.
So, excellent. So I'm thinking about glycemic levels and sugars, and boy, I'll tell you what, this stuff tastes just like sugar to me.
Yes.
It must be the healthiest sweetener that I can think of. I don't know. Is there a healthier sweetener?
You might consider allulose, the non-absorbable, non-nutritive sugar that is a sweetener, but also is something that helps to reduce inflammation in the body. It has a very interesting effect of acting like a GLP-1 agonist, like Ozempic, and reduce inflammation. So
allulose is actually more nutritious than it is just a sweetener.
Yeah, actually, it has no real nutritive value as a carbohydrate sweetener. Its benefit is through its chemical signaling in the body.
Right. Well, anti-inflammatory, I think is it may be a fad, but it's probably the healthiest fad that we could possibly have. So anything to add to the anti-inflammatory, but as long as the glycine is not something that's going to hurt me, and you don't feel, like I don't know, is glycine related to the glycemic levels, load, or
only in that when you eat calories, you contribute to the total amount of calories in the body and what you're metabolizing. Amino acids are metabolized into glucose when you don't have any carbohydrates on board. That's the ketogenic principle. You metabolize protein into sugar so you can have energy, and that's how you burn the fats and the proteins. Is what's end up getting burned so that you get rid of the fat in your body. So carbohydrate starvation ends up burning fats and amino acids, and glycine will be one of them. So yeah, it contributes, but it actually doesn't make your blood sugar go up after ingesting it directly.
Right. So it's not directly related to glucose?
No.
Excellent. I have not done the deep dive on it, and that's what I was basically wondering, making sure that I didn't just, pay $10 a pound for sugar.
No, you did not. It's an amino acid. It is a pre-protein.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Doc. Have a great day.
You're welcome. You too.
Thank you there, Tom. Let's go to Deb in Tampa. Good morning to you there, Deb.
Hey, Fred, it's me.
Hi, Deb.
How you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm good, but I wanted to broach this subject of disparities that you've touched on here on MLK Day and share an experience.
Yes, please.
A while back, I was Zooming a vegan cooking class, and others on the Zoom call did not seem to understand barriers to veganism that are present in disparate populations and food deserts. So my question is, how do we get people who have not suffered poverty or less than middle-class living conditions to understand from their animal rights perspective, veganism isn't always an option for everyone?
You're right. It isn't always an option for everyone. Getting high quality vegetables in food deserts is nearly impossible. And so in those instances, we need to really focusing on finding sources for whole foods. And that is really a problem.
Salad box, but that doesn't seem to be working. Like, maybe get some more people to the ballot box who understand this like you and I do?
Yeah, actually, that would be helpful. But part of the problem is that people going to the ballot box have been actually brainwashed by propaganda content. I mean, think about it. 20% or over 20% of Americans are evangelical Christians, and 80% of them voted for Trump. So they've obviously been brainwashed into thinking that this criminal is beneficial. And so until we can actually figure out how to stop programming humans with disinformation, we're going to not get people to the ballot box for the right reasons.
Well, I don't know where to start.
I don't either. It's really a difficult problem.
I will be celebrating the holiday with M&F at the parade today. So hopefully people will come on down and help us listen to Dr. King. I listened to him earlier when Amy Goodman had it on, and what I heard him say is we have to stand up straight because the man cannot ride on our back unless it's bent over.
That is very true.
Really straight today in the parade.
Well, there are more and more people responding to peaceful protest rallies. And the more people we get into the street to actually protest, it becomes more visible. It interrupts the process of authoritarian control. And it also disrupts the narrative of violent protests. Violence will never prevail. It can't. Love prevails, peace prevails, and so we need more peace rallies and more medical justice rallies. And yeah, I think that people are waking up, but we have a long road to go here unless the current administration is revealed for the criminality that it is and people believe it.
Yeah, maybe through the lens of medical justice, people would listen, because they're interested in their own medical care, and they want others to not be dying on the streets.
But so many people are really bought into the medical paradigm where you need a pill for your ill. They're not empowered to think about finding ways to health without going to a doctor, because that's not a actually road to health. It's a road to illness treatment.
Yeah. You want to get sick, go to a hospital. That's for sure. Don't we know it? Anyway,
Don't we know it?
You, and it's good to talk to you on the air, my friend.
It's wonderful. And I just got to let everybody know, Debbie is my first nurse when I moved to Florida in 1989.
Guilty as charged. Bye-bye.
Love you, dear. Have a great year.
You.
Well, thank you, Deb, for calling on in, and thank you for helping the doctor start up his practice. And also, thank you very much for participating in the WMNF float of the parade. I've got Norm and Pat and Tom on the phone. Let's go to Norm in Tampa. Good morning, Norm.
Oh, good morning. Good morning. You know, I've always had a question this morning about your term food deserts, okay? He said these are areas where people have limited access to fresh food and healthy, affordable food. Are you defining that as folks who are, let's say, not having grocery stores in their area? Or are you defining that as an area where, let's say, that where there's limited grocery stores, but people grow their own food? Is what I'm looking at. I mean,
actually, that's a really good thing. People growing their own food is really brilliant. But yes, the places where I'm talking about food deserts are places where there aren't any kind of really decent grocery stores, like inner cities and rural West Texas and rural Pennsylvania. There are places there where you can find very little. And you find processed foods, fried foods, fast foods, but you don't find whole foods. And so these people are deprived of actual food sources because processed foods, fried foods, fast foods aren't foods. They're just calories waiting to kill you.
So let me people push back on that one, because, you know, I just so happened when I first came to Florida, you know, I found me a girlfriend that lived out in the country, okay? And she and I got married. But anyway, my father-in-law grew up in an area where there were no groceries. He wouldn't dare eat it buy anything from a grocery store, because he grew his own chickens, his own hogs. You know, he had hogs. He had his own vegetable garden and stuff. And he felt that the food, like the Winn-Dixie, that stuff was filth. And so, I mean, would you call that a food desert? And then another thing, too.
Well, yes, actually, I would. I would call that a food desert, because 90% of the people living around him aren't doing what he did. And if they have no access to a grocery store, then they're without food. But you can't grow your own food when you're living in a housing project in an inner city. There's no place to do it. And so you're stuck. And so that's called a food desert, and it's real.
All right. And then the other thing, too, I wanted to I was in a class the other day, and we were talking about, for example, in terms of nutrition and fatty foods and those sort of things. We were talking about, for example, there was a study done on the math side. And this is a guy that had done the Framingham study. And what he found was the math side drank these very high and rich protein meat diets, and their and milk and those sort of things, and yet their LDL was still basically below normal. And
LDL is related to a lot of different parameters, and one of them is genetics. Others is the type of food you're eating.
Right. So how is it? I mean, do these food parameters, these guidelines, fall into? I mean, do they make any sense, or are there other? Are you kind of in?
Oh, the new guidelines are crazy. The new guidelines that the Robert F. Kennedy weirdness is promoting is upside down from reality. We know it.
Yeah, thank you. Well, thank you very much. I don't want to challenge you anymore. I still disagree with the doctor here about the opioid thing, but I'll let that slide today. We'll debate that another time.
All right, sir. Have a great one.
Thank you very much. All right, bye-bye.
Well, thank you there, Norm. And I do have Pat on the line, but I'm going to say, if you're just joining us, welcome to the Healthy Steps Radio Show here on WMNF Tampa with Dr. Fred Harvey. And we're inviting you to participate by giving us a call at 813-239-9663. Sage, as I say, is in the control room awaiting your treasured calls. So that number, once again, is 813-239-9663. Or you can continue to send your emails to dj@wmnf.org. Let's go to Pat in Seminole.
Yes,
Hello,
good
Pat.
morning. Good morning. Happy MLK Day.
Happy MLK Day.
Hey, I wanted to say, as a white woman who grew up in Nebraska, I never, ever heard any of this Martin Luther King speeches. It wasn't played anywhere. We weren't exposed to it in any way. So I have such appreciation to WMNF for playing that, because I haven't heard a lot of this stuff that I've heard this morning and previous years. So thank you to MNF. But my question for you guys, you were speaking to a woman previously who was very enthusiastic about voting, and you told her you were not sure where to start. And I think you were trying to say what I would like to add to.
Yes.
Simply, she was saying, just get the people to vote, get the people to vote. And I'm like, voting is not the solution at all. Informing the voters about who and what they're voting for needs to happen before people vote. Anybody saying, just go out and vote, is what landed us where we are right now. And instead, I'd ask anybody that was going to vote, I'd say, name 2 or 3 reasons, policies or perspectives from the politician of why you would vote for that person. And if you can't articulate 2 or 3 reasons that affect society or you, don't vote. Just stay home, because you're just, don't vote. That's what I think. So what do you think, Doctor?
Well, that's a very good point. I mean, if you don't understand what you're voting for, don't vote. But I think that many people are completely certain that they're voting to get rid of illegals, that they're voting to make America great again, that they're voting because America needs to be taken back from those who took it. And it's because education is so horrid in this nation that people don't even understand that those propaganda phrases mean nothing, do nothing, and help no one.
And I agree with what you're saying. But again, I think there's too big a push for people to say, just go vote, without, premising that on something real. One last thing I wanted to say was that you were talking about food deserts earlier. And again, I've lived in Florida for 35 years. But rural America, rural Nebraska, those are food deserts. They're not.
They are.
And this is not just Nebraska. This is rural America, and that's where a lot of people that vote for people like Trump are. Additionally, you can get a deep fried pickle in any of those places. Yeah, and I have to tell you, I was in Nebraska in a bar, and it was Mexican. It was Mexican food night or something like that, in a bar where I heard such racist comments about Mexicans in a bar on Mexican food night from people I grew up with. It's just incredible that people enjoy the food but have something horrible to say about the people. Anyways, I called the people I knew out on it, but it's funny, not funny. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's not funny at all that 20% of Americans believe that racism is a good thing.
Well, or they don't understand. Again, if you're not exposed to something, I'm not sure
that they don't understand.
Well, can I tell you, I know what I was not exposed to, and I was not exposed to people from other countries. I was not exposed to things like Martin Luther King's words. Anyways, lastly, I wanted to say that not only food deserts, but there will be medical deserts, because with all the Trump administration changes, doctors are 2 hours away for many people, and even those small clinics, it's going to be medical deserts too soon. You know what I'm saying?
I live in Florida because the Republicans are good at this. Reagan, in the mid-'80s, cut funding for rural hospitals. My hometown hospital, which served a town of 3,000 and a catchment area of 65,000, had a 40-bed limit. It was closed because the government defunded it, and then they blocked the sale of the hospital to Geisinger Medical Center because they wanted to keep all the union employees on board at $1 million a year payroll deficit. So greed killed my hometown hospital, and Republicans did, because they defund rural healthcare all the time. They're doing it again. We're going to see the healthcare deserts in the red states absolutely explode because they've not funded Medicaid, and the South is going to die, period, because of Trump and his friends.
I think again, the Midwest. It's limited that the hospital is 2 hours away, and that goes away. Yeah. If you need emergency anything, there are not helicopters waiting in the middle of rural America to go pick somebody up.
But you know where they're waiting? They're waiting in the Hamptons on East Long Island, where the millionaires fly from the medical desert on East Long Island. They fly to Manhattan for service.
And that ain't going to happen where I come from. So again,
of course not, because there's not billionaires and millionaires that live out in the East Hamptons.
When people start complaining that I know voted for Trump, I'm going to put it right in their face and say, "You did this. You voted for this."
There was an article today from a therapist talking about that. Do you gloat, or do you just say, "Well, maybe you should have thought better earlier"?
No, it's a matter of saying, you did this, now what are you going to do about it? We can't just let it sit. You have to, pose a solution. And you said earlier to the lady, I don't know what to do. And it's like, League of Women Voters says, informed voters. That's the thing they say.
But how do you inform them? How do you get the message out to these people when we have a global propaganda network that's run by oligarchs like Rupert Murdoch and friends that lie constantly?
How do we do that? We support WMNF. God bless, okay?
Yeah, I know, but, rural America doesn't have this access, unfortunately. They could, but they don't know to stream it even. They just throw on Fox News.
Well, and the public radio stations are going away for any kind of objective news about any of that. And it is about knowing. I know somebody who told me one time, why do the people in Kentucky... And I don't mean to pick on Kentucky, but there's a whole lot of Mountain Dew in baby bottles and a whole lot of people that need dental care in Kentucky. I got nothing against Kentucky, Mr. McConnell. Yes, I kind of do. But my point is...
I got something against him.
Somebody told me one time, why don't the people in Kentucky have teeth? I mean, and someone told me it's because they don't know they deserve teeth.
Yeah, there you go.
Maybe it's not funny, but it was funny when this person told me that.
No, that's kind of true. It's like the whole family has no teeth. That's just the way it is, I guess. We don't get those things given to us.
Well, again, Mountain Dew in baby bottles and just the nonsense that happens, and they don't look directly at the head of someone leading their party. It's nonsense. Anyways, God bless.
God bless. Take care,
Happy MLK. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much there, Pat. And I've got DeAndre, Rhonda, and Jerry. Let's go to DeAndre. Good morning to you, DeAndre. What have you got for us today?
Hey, good morning. I wanted to try to pose this in the form of a question, but I keep coming across this thought as it pertains to medicine of throttling. Yeah. Throttling is something that's done in the communications and cellular industry. It's been found to be used to slow older phones down and then basically require the customer to have to buy another phone. It reminds, and in a weird way, it reminds me of, the medical industry one, where that information gets cycled and recycled and then weighs down systems. And another way that's done, actually, that's been complained about is in reforms to returning citizens. Their information is lost. That's actually what I wanted to call about. It's like retaining and verifying information has become the true struggle in this time of, itemizing data and storing it. And I think that's where, unfortunately, a lot of people are being played, particularly in medicine in Florida, where you might have a very important exam that's supposed to be, examined by your insurance company, but then a doctor gives a bad, summary, and then that summary, basically goes to determine what kind of care you get later, if anything at all. It all really depends on communication between, really the way insurance companies, really log data, and then as well, certain doctors' offices. I don't want to bring any shade to doctors, but if returning citizens' experience says anything, it's that the data must be accurate before storing on behalf of the patient and the client, because if it's misread, and this is from something that happened to me last week, if it's misread, then it can disrupt the quality of care that a person eventually gets from this
that is very
information.
True. The information really has to be accurate. Misdiagnosis, a wrong diagnosis is a big problem. Medical error extends from that, and when you go back to root cause, you often find that there was a wrong diagnosis, and then the treatment that was given was for the wrong diagnosis, so the treatment didn't help or it damaged, because that's what happens in those situations. And so, yes, communication is critical, which is one of the reasons we have the HIPAA law, HIPPA, which helps to make your health information portable so that one company can't control it. And it makes it easier for you to move between companies. But the biggest problem that I see is that we have a private insurance system that is covering most of Americans. And when we finally transition into the first world and leave third world extractive profiteering from human suffering behind and create Medicare for all, which the Democrats did have the chance to do for us in 2010, but instead they sold us out to Wall Street and insurance companies and gave us Obamacare, the non-sustainable, non-affordable care act that needs to go away. We need Medicare for all.
I agree 100%. The Romney, but I tend to characterize or identify that as Romney care. One of the facets, though,
but it's still a bummer care because he signed it.
Yeah, he did, and they, that gang of eight had their way. They saw there was no obstruction for them.
But think about this. You said it well. A Republican, Romney, made this system up, and Obama and the Democrats gave it to the nation. Thank you very much. They're all fascists. They're all in the pocket of Wall Street, and so we need to actually change the entire government, because none of them are listening to the people. They listen to the banksters and steal from us.
Right. I want to submit again. Definitely hold on to any documentation and correspond with others. Learn of others, as well as you can, their experiences when it comes to medicine, because if it's happening really to my a lot of my family at home, including myself.
You want to keep your own records at home, print them out, keep them in a file, because then you have actual documentation and you can say, look, they wrote the wrong thing down here. I've had patients do that actually edit the documents. It's really tough to get the doctor to go back and edit and remove a diagnosis that's wrong, but it's their responsibility to do so.
Yeah, and they can fly with that just to provide what they can or set up to through the insurance companies, unfortunately, which might be physical therapy when instead you actually really require surgery,
right.
Which is it's horrific. But I want everyone to understand those are some of the problems with healthcare right now, as far as firsthand observation, as well as I could help supply disenlighten anyone really. But thank you, Doctor. Thank you, everyone. Y'all have a wonderful day, and happy Martin Luther King is third day, please. Thank you.
Thank you, DeAndre. You always have some good input. I appreciate your calls.
You got it. All right. Bye-bye.
Absolutely, DeAndre. We always get something and learn something when you call on in, and happy Martin Luther King Day as well to you. Let's go to Rhonda. Good morning, Rhonda.
Good morning. Hey, Doc.
Hi.
I'm going to try to get straight to the point so I can get the answer here. This happened right before Christmas, the day of Christmas, that Wednesday evening. I had a strong pain that hit me on my left side. It wasn't a stroke or anything, and it was a horrible pain. So I was thinking it was the upper teeth, one of my upper teeth. So I couldn't get to the dentist till that following Monday because everything was shut down. So when I did get to the dentist and I was telling them I need this particular teeth at the top pulled, they did the x-ray and everything, and the doc said, it's not the teeth. It's not the teeth. So I still wasn't satisfied with that answer. So I went to another dentist the next day, and I say, Doc, I need this particular tooth pulled. I know it's this tooth. She did the x-ray and blah, 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 and everything. And she came back and said, Miss, it is nothing in your mouth dealing with your teeth that is hurting you. So I'm like, I'm still curious. So I got to a doctor. This particular doctor put me on Claritin. As soon as he put me on Claritin, that pain stopped. But the swelling stopped. The swelling was still there. So I went back and tried to explain to her, maybe I need to be on some antibiotic because the swelling is still there and it's still swollen up under there. So it's like they wouldn't pay me no attention. But they put me on, let me spell this so I don't want to mess it up, Montelukast. That didn't work. Okay, I took a couple of these and it didn't work. That swelling was still there. My particular doctor was out of town, out of the country. So when he came back, I finally had an opportunity to go to him because it's been hurting ever since that time. Remember, the pain is gone, but that swelling is still up in there. So the second dentist said, have you ever had allergy, sinus? I'm saying, so I explained to her, no, never in my life. I never experienced that. So when I went to my doctor that finally came back in town, he put me on Fluticasone last week. This has been happening ever since right before Christmas, last week.
Okay.
The swelling is still up under there. It's still there. This is not working, so I stopped taking it. But I can't get back to him today because it's a holiday and everything is closed. What do you think this problem is?
I think you have some swelling in your mouth that's caused you some discomfort. The discomfort is gone now, and you have a little bit of swelling. Is it causing you any problem, or is it just you notice that it's a little bit swollen?
It's not causing me any problems. That swelling is just, what they're giving me is not working. That swelling is still up under there.
Well, it sounds to me like what they did was working. You got rid of the pain with Claritin.
Uh-huh.
So whatever was causing your pain is better, but you still have some swelling, but it's not bothering you. You have some swelling.
Right. And when the doctor looked up on there, he said, oh, you got allergy, sinus real bad. And that's when he described this last one to me. But I started taking it, but the swelling is still up under there. So I can't get back to him today. It's closed.
Uh-huh. Well, it sounds to me like you probably have a good doctor that detected allergies, and the Montelukast is another allergy medicine, but it only works in certain cases of a specific type of allergy. So you might really deserve a workup from a good functional medicine doctor to get some allergies looked at, food allergies and airborne allergies, and see if you have something that's causing the reaction. Find out why you're getting this rather than just treating what you've got.
Right. Okay, so just get a specialist and see what's going on. Because ifm.org is the Institute for Functional Medicine, and you can find a good functional medicine doctor who will help find out why you have dysfunction. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye.
Well, we've gone dark here, Doc. I can give on out the number and see where that gets us. And remind folks they're listening to the Healthy Steps Radio Show with Dr. Fred Harvey here on WMNF Tampa. And this is your last chance. We've got about 5 more minutes of the show for you to address your medical questions or concerns by giving us a call at 813-239-9663. Back to you there, Doctor.
So Peter writes to us, and he says, hello, Doc. I was just thinking about all these doctors out there where at the end of these commercials selling these drugs with names like Lifezania and Euphoria, I just made those two up, but they'll do. They really do, actually, Peter. They sound just like the stuff. If the doctor never gets samples of those advertised drugs and the patient walks in, what does he do? Does he say, I'll get back to you, or does he just read the ingredients online? Well, what happens is the the pharmaceutical company reps come to the office and provide information. We have medical education seminars where we go and learn about new medications and new ways of looking at the illnesses we treat with medications. So there's a bunch of different ways to get this, but it is tough to keep up with all of the new medications. Because we're always going to find new medications, more and more niche medications for more and more niche things. But I still live with the premise that if we actually just step back a bit and do basic care, like why don't we fix the food deserts? Why don't we take the pesticides and herbicides out of the farm so that we don't make carcinogenic vegetables? There's all kinds of really simple stuff that we could do, like walk around the block for 20 minutes once a day, and you'll reduce your risk of cancer by 20% overall, probably. These things just are very simple, and that's where I would want to go. Let's see. So I have another text here. I was forced to leave in the middle of being tested for cancer at Orlando Health Hospital in St. Pete for refusing to walk through a metal detector after I was already through the hospital for testing. I was forced out and received no paperwork. The billing agency for the hospital had access to my personal health records in violation of HIPAA. Yeah, there's a lot of chicanery that goes on in these things, and I think that being forced to walk through a metal detector to be able to be treated at a healthcare facility is kind of scary. Yeah, I don't like that. But, for the last minute or two here, I just want to talk about something. I got two emails asking for just some simple things to do to sidestep the horrible feelings that kind of get induced by unarmed American citizens being murdered by Proud Boys in masks that pretend to be federal agents. This stuff is scary. And one way to deal with this is to stop scrolling. I know it's difficult because it's in your face constantly because we're being assaulted by a new Gestapo. And it's this quasi-legal state of weirdness that we're living in that's very, very difficult. So avoid scrolling if you can. Go to your favorite music streaming service. Find things that say 432 hertz or 528 hertz music, and you can play things as diverse as Bob Marley, classical 70s rock or jazz with these tones playing behind it. But they also have a lot of ambient music, meditation music that's instrumental and soothing that will be playing these tones. 528 is a frequency that opens up your heart in order to radiate love. 432 is a frequency that allows stress to drain away and go into an anxiety-free state. They're not the only things you can do. There are great guided meditations on things like Insight Timer and Aura. Dr. Joe Dispenza, DrJoeDispenza.com, has amazing guided heart-centered meditations, and you can find him on YouTube as well, and there are many other places to do it. The last thing I will remind you is you can always shift your mood by paying attention to your breath. If you're stressed, stop. Take a deep breath, count 4 in, and then let it out to the count of 8. Do this until you feel less stressed. 1, 2, 3, 4 in. Hold. 1, 2, out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That repeated will help to calm you down and help you avoid the stress. Being in a less stressful situation will help you make better decisions and get through the day better. Much love, everyone. Thank you, Bill. Thank you, Sage. Thank you, all you wonderful Healthy Step listeners. I'll see you next week.
And thank you, Dr. Harvey, for another informative and rewarding Healthy Steps radio show. And thanks to all of our participants, listeners, and supporters. You make this show exemplary. And Sage, thank you for answering the phones today and all that entails. This show would not be possible without your assistance. You have been listening to the Healthy Steps radio show with Dr. Fred Harvey here on WMNF Tampa. Waiting for you like a dear friend is 5 minutes of NPR headline news, and then get ready for the Sustainable Living Show. So until next Monday at 10 a.m., thank you for supporting and listening to the Healthy Steps radio show with Dr. Fred Harvey here on WMNF Tampa, your community conscious radio station. Stay safe, stay thoughtful, and know that you are loved.